Greetings YouTube, my name is Alex and I am the Reef Dork, and today I'm going to be reviewing the ubiquitous Jecod powerheads. Now I have three Jecod products. I've got an SW-8 powerhead, the slightly smaller SW-4 powerhead, and I've got a return pump, a DCT2000. In this video I'm going to tell you about price, aesthetics and build quality, functionality and the ability to move water. Let's get to it. So first up, let's look at price. I'm going to compare the SW-8, which is an 8,000 litre per hour return pump, with a Vortec MP10, which is a 6,000 litre per hour pump. Now, I find if you shop around, you can get these a bit cheaper. This one cost me £66 in my local fish shop, for example, but online on Charterhouse Aquatics, they're currently selling for £82. So let's call it £82. On the same website, you can get a Vortec MP10 QD for £210. That's almost 3 times as much, which is a huge difference. Now, in terms of build quality, which we'll come on to in a minute, you do lose something, so the value for money isn't quite as good as the price, but it's still incredibly cheap. And so much so that if one breaks or goes wrong or whatever, you can afford to just chuck it away and get another one. So for price and value for money, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Next up then, build quality and aesthetics. So from this angle you can see both of my pumps. One is stuck to the side, that's the SW4, and the other one is stuck to the back, that's the SW8. So in terms of the build quality then, the magnets are good. There is no sign of these falling off anytime soon. Let me demonstrate that. Whoop. They're going nowhere, they're really stuck on tight, they're solid. I think they look okay actually, they're fairly unobtrusive. The cables do stick in the tank, but if you do it carefully up against the black background, they can be all right. And in terms of the size, they're pretty compact, so that's a winner. On to build quality though, I have had problems with every Jecod product I have had so far. Some very minor, I will admit. For example, on the SW8, the plug didn't work and I had to get that replaced. And then on the SW4, first time I plugged it in, there was a spark. Now, admittedly, that was my fault because I shouldn't have had it turned on, but still, you wouldn't necessarily expect that. And also the return pump I had needed quite a lot of encouragement to get it going, so I had to take it apart and give it a bit of a spin. So the point I'm trying to make is they are imperfect products, but these are all minor irritants that you won't get so much from more expensive products, but you can live with them. Continuing on build quality then, let's talk about the noise. These are, I find, a little bit loud. You can kind of hear that in time with the fan spinning, and I can actually hear that from my sofa 4 meters away over the other side of the room. Now, that does disappear into the background and you do get used to it, but they're certainly a lot louder than the Vortex I mentioned earlier. And I also find that they make the glass vibrate. If you put your hand on the glass, there you go, I can feel that vibrating in time with the fans moving, so that can't be much fun for the fish. So how about a quick underwater demonstration of that noise then? There you go, straight away you can hear how noisy it is. Now, I don't know if the fish can hear that, I suspect they probably can, and they might even be able to feel it as well. The camera is about 18 inches away from the pumps, just looks closer because it's underwater. And putting up with that is pretty rubbish if you're a fish. So in terms of build quality and looks, generally speaking I think they look alright, but the build quality is where they suffer. The failing rate is probably a lot higher than other pumps and there are a few problems with them. Let's give it a 5 out of 10 for that. So next on to functionality. Now you have various modes with these. So you have a short pulsing wave, which is like that, which is what I have. I find that creates the most wave. You then have sort of a long pulsing, building up and slowing down wave, which I find isn't quite so good. And you have a random mode, which I find is completely useless, and a constant speed mode, which you're probably not going to use. There are a couple of other features as well. You've got a master-slave mode, so you can set one on either side and they will work together with each other. And there's a night mode that I personally think is useless, but some people do like them. And there is also a feed mode, which is brilliant, shuts the fans off for 10 minutes. Now there's no app control, which is a bit of a shame, And if you want to change the mode, you have to go onto the control unit within the sump or wherever you keep it and actually press the button to flick it over. And finally, when it comes to cleaning, on something like an MP10, the Vortex, you just pull the wet side off and clean it. Whereas with these, you have to unplug the unit from the control box and take the entire thing out. Minor point, but it's a little bit more of a faff. For functionality, I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. So what about shifting water then? Well, they do so. They are a little underpowered. The SW-8, for example, is rated at 8,000 litres per hour, whereas an MP10 is rated for 6,000, but I found that the MP10 provided a bit more flow. So if you do get these, you probably need to oversize them or get multiple pumps. For example, on paper, my tank should be okay with one SW4. However, I think that an SW8 is a minimum, and ideally you would have 2 dialed down. So for shifting water, 7 out of 10. So if you do decide to get these, my advice would be number 1, oversize the pump. So if you think you need 4,000 litre per hour, get yourself an 8,000 litre per hour. And number 2, get multiple pumps. That way you can dial them down and set them up on different sides of the tank so they create nice flow patterns. That will also reduce vibrations, and it will probably give you the backup you need when one of them inevitably goes wrong. So in summary then, with the Jecod or Jebao powerheads, you do very much get what you pay for. There are shortcomings and there are flaws, but if you do it properly and you can put up with those, then you will not shift more water for less money. And I've seen plenty of amazing SPS tanks that run only Jecod pumps, showing no ill effects. So overall, I'd give them a 6 out of 10, definitely worth a punt. So that's it for my review of the Jecod Jebao powerheads. If you found that interesting, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and look out for more content. Until next time, I've been the Reef Dork. Thank you, good night.